I tell you what, it is the coldest I think it's ever been in Florida since I've been down here today. I think I woke up and it was 30 degrees, which is pretty crazy. All the people in Florida that run just water in their cars and not coolant, pray for you guys. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed that last video that I put out. It was a little bit of a different style of video that I'm used to making, but I thought that it was pretty cool, kind of giving you guys an inside look on my life and the things that I deal with. By running a small automotive YouTube channel, I do think that it is worth it. It can be very tricky, but I do have a lot of fun doing it. But we are back. I'm trying my very, very best to keep uploading on this once a week schedule, and I just put out that video now, so we are heading back to the compound to put in some more work to the Del Sol. I'm very excited to see that car start up for the first time. Obviously, we're still a little bit of ways away from that, but I have a pile of parts there that I've been wanting to dig into, and I just put in another order for another batch of parts, so those will be showing up soon. Well, let's head over to the compound and let's wrench on a Del Sol. If you guys can't tell, I really love coupes. The NSX, I had the Soarer, I had the Supra, I had my first Del Sol, I had my green coupe. Now I have this Del Sol and the Ferrari, so many coupes. Anyways, we're back. We got the Del Sol here, and I'm still waiting on some parts to come in. They're gonna come in for this video, but for now, I'm gonna work with the parts that I have over in the corner over there. The first thing that I did before I even filmed anything was get the driver's side engine mount for the transmission squared away. So many of you guys commented in the last Del Sol video that I had the mount upside down. Thankfully, that was a super easy fix, and it looks even better now, so that's awesome. And while I was making the other video, a couple other parts showed up, like my slave cylinder and clutch line kit, so we can install that. All I know is it goes right there, and the line goes up there somewhere. So, well, I know where it goes. It goes to the master that I don't have. Part of the parts that are showing up later in this video. But anyway, let's get this put in. For a second there, I thought that I bought the wrong slave because there is 5 and 6 speed transmissions for these cars, but I think I got it figured out. I just had to depress this a little bit more, and then this mounts upside down like this. Yeah. All right, so I just gotta find hardware for this guy here, and then we'll be good to go. Yes, M8 by 1.25. Look at that, some fresh zinc. Gotta love that. All right, so for when my new master comes in for the clutch, I can actually like fully install this. But for now, I'm going to just get this line plumbed up. I got this little clutch line kit off of eBay. Pretty straightforward. Okay. So seeing as this car has been eBay built so far, minus the K series and the transmission, we're gonna keep that theme going. And in this next part of this video, I've got something that's pretty cool. I've always thought these were sick, a hell of a lot cooler than the stock shifter setup. I went ahead and bought a shifter tower setup straight from eBay. God, this is crazy. Came with the cables, brackets, hardware, all this stuff. And I really want to figure out how to get this stuff in the car. I don't know how any of this works. I haven't watched a single video on how to install it, but I know at least for the first step, I gotta take this center console out. So I'm gonna grab some tools, we'll zap this out, and get after it, I guess, boys. Now, before we continue working on the Del Sol, I just wanted to give a quick mention of today's video sponsor, NordVPN. They are the best of the best when it comes to virtual private networks that keep you safe on the internet. Whether it's their Threat Protection Pro that keeps you safe from malicious malware or ads, encrypting your passwords and your information to keep you safe, or if it's the ability to access dozens and dozens of private servers across the world to help you wherever you are on the internet, you've never been safer with NordVPN. NordVPN's network security is incredible. Let's say you're on your computer and you get an email saying you want a free phone. You click that email saying claim now, and all of a sudden you're taken to a really shady website. Well, NordVPN is going to protect you from that. Now, when it comes to the thing that I use most for
from NordVPN, it would be their ability to log into different servers across the entire world, especially when you're traveling, so that you can stay having access to the internet wherever you are. I have used this countless times, whether I'm going to Australia, the UK, Ireland, Canada. There's been so many times where I haven't had access to things that I need, and with NordVPN, I'm able to make that happen. And I'll show you how. If we were to travel over to Ireland like we do for the world tours, and we need to connect to the internet over there, it's as simple as clicking one button and now we're connected. It doesn't get simpler than that. So if you guys want to stay safe on the internet, be able to access it wherever you are and have that peace of mind again, you guys can go to nordvpn.com/divinevpn to get their 2-year plan plus 4 months extra. You don't have to worry. If you don't like it, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you so very much to NordVPN for sponsoring yet another video of mine, not only keeping me safe, but being able to make these videos happen. So thank you guys very much. Now let's get back to the Del Sol.
Okay, so looking at this kit, I think that I got one that does require me to cut out this little bulge for the old shifter setup because there is no revision on the bottom for it to go into. So you can see it kind of sits proud on that thing. So I got to shave this guy off. Overall mounting of this shouldn't be too hard. These 2 holes here, they line up with the old shift linkage holes that are made for the D series and the B series. You can see those 2 threaded holes right there. So that's not that hard. These 2 holes up here, I'm gonna drill through and I can put nuts on from the bottom. Getting the cables up through the firewall to the engine bay is gonna be a little bit of a different story. I'm not sure entirely how to do that yet. I'll probably find some grommet that it fits through and just send it right to the transmission from there. But yeah, we'll see. Kind of winging this one. This is the bracket that mounts on the transmission itself that holds the cables. And then this is the adjustable shifter that they send with the kit. You just lock these little nuts down and you can pick your height. It doesn't seem too hard to do, and it'll definitely look really cool once it's in here. The only thing is it's gonna probably require some trimming for the stock center console. So I decided to try and work on the transmission side first, getting that bracket and the cables kind of mounted and figured out how they're supposed to go on here. I have a couple reference photos on eBay that I'm kind of following. But essentially, this bracket here will sit just like this on the transmission, and the new cables will get ran through here. It's gonna be hard to tell, but this bolt right here requires a little spacer to get put under there so that it fits nice and tight. And then after that, I can get the cables mounted up to it and mount it up to the transmission. And then we can try and figure out where we can route this stuff into the firewall and into the car. Okay, so I love cars. I love making cars nice. And this Del Sol kind of falls in that category, but it's just tipping over the edge of not being so nice. And I'm okay with that because I made this car. This thing was cheap and really, really rough when I got it. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to make a daily driver out of it. Now, Nice Mike would have wanted to do everything just like the forum says to run these shifter cables. Pull the dash out, pull the heater box out, pull the AC box out, remove one of the ECUs, and then drill a hole through the firewall that's right behind everything. But what if I told you I'm not gonna do that, and I'm just gonna drill a hole in the firewall? I think we're gonna do that. At the end of the day, I'm still doing exactly what they're doing on the forums. I'm just skipping the 6 hours of work that it's gonna take, maybe 2 hours, that it would take to take the dash out, the steering column, the heater core, the AC box, the ECU. This is a daily, this car's not perfect. We're gonna keep it that way. Now in the forum, they suggested to drill a hole basically right under where the heater core lines go into the firewall. That's a very tight area, and with the engine in here, that's really kind of impossible, especially with that motor mount. And obviously this hole here is for the brake booster, this hole's for the clutch master, so we can't use those, but there's a nice little piece of real estate that's right there. And on the inside of the car, it gives me a clear shot to go straight through the center console behind all the plastic and right up to the shifter box. So I think I'm gonna drill right there. Steady hands, don't fail me now. Oh, bingo! Fuck yes. We have technology, folks. That will work. Glory days. All right, it's a few days later, but I decided to drive the old NSX in today for work. I fucking love this car so much. I haven't driven it in a few months just because I've been really excited about the Ferrari project. But man, every single time that I get in this thing, I just have such a blast. And the last time that I was working on the Del Sol, I had a little bit of an oopsie. And I didn't really film it. You guys kind of saw I transitioned from the drilling clip to the installing the shifter clip. And basically I picked that spot on the firewall to run the cables, and it worked out perfectly fine. You can see I got the cables nicely installed. Looks super, super cool. But next to the cables, you could probably see a couple colored pieces. So as soon as the drill bit into the firewall and actually punched through, it binded up and it snagged, and I was like, what the heck's going on? Pull it out, I drilled into the wiring harness, the body harness for the Del Sol. And my first reaction was silence. But as I looked into it more, I think it's okay. It only appeared to actually cut one wire out of the entire loom. The rest got scuffed up a little bit, but the wiring loom had a plastic shield around it, and I think that plastic shield saved it from me completely destroying the body harness of this car. So fingers crossed, everything is good there. We won't really know until it's startup time, but we all have oopsies with our cars. The next step for this though is to actually cut out this hump that's in here. And once that's cut out, I can actually bolt the shifter down, get the cables hooked up to it, get everything finalized, and then we can see if it goes in and out of gear perfectly fine. It should. There's really no tension on the cables whatsoever. I just have them ran parallel pretty much to the whole center console area, straight to that hole. So we'll see, but I'm gonna cut this hump out and then we can get to finish installing the shifter setup. Okay, so we got the shifter set up all plumbed up in here. It looks amazing. It shifts, it does the thing. I'm pumped about it. The master cylinder also came in, so I was able to install that, get the line officially ran and all that sort of done. So that feels amazing. We got a pedal now, that's great. This car was actually a factory manual when I got it, so that just makes things a little bit easier for me. I don't have to manual swap this car. I've manual swapped a Del Sol before, my first car, and my green coupe, so I know what it would have taken to do it. It's just nice to not have to do it this time. And while I did all of that, even more parts started showing up throughout this week. So I have a new little stash of stuff that we're gonna work on, but in the next video. I'm trying to space these out a little bit, keep you guys wanting more as each week goes by, and it gives me a chance to make a video every single week, which is sick. But the last thing that I wanna install for this video is the intake manifold. I want to make this engine look more like an engine, and right now it's basically just a long block. I've got the radiator and the hoses coming in very soon, so this engine bay will get filled up pretty quick, but something I've been very pumped on is this intake manifold. And I got everything in this box here, so let's crack it open. So like I said, going with the theme of this video, of this whole Del Sol series, we're keeping it eBay, we're keeping it budget, and this entire intake manifold setup with a throttle body was 190 bucks. And I've seen people have great luck with these, so I'm very curious how it's gonna do for me. Oh, yes. Dang. Okay. Yep, look at that. My only gripe is that it said that it came with a gasket, and there's no gasket. But there is an intake manifold, so that's good. Came with some fittings and a little throttle cable bracket from what it looks like. And then this guy here is our throttle body. Came with hardware, that's awesome. Ha, the throttle body came with a gasket, so that's nice. Cheap little paper gasket, but it'll work. And it came with a throttle sensor as well, which is pretty sick. Now, something that I want to show to you guys, with this being an eBay intake manifold, look inside of here, you can see a bunch of what looks like sand. All this stuff is really, really hard and compact in here, but it breaks loose with my finger. So you definitely want to make sure that you remove as much of this as possible. I imagine that this is from CNC cutting all of this stuff. Before we actually bolt this up for good, we're gonna take a file, clean in there as good as I can, and just make sure that I'm not gonna be running a bunch of crap through the engine. And since I don't have the gasket, which I'll order, the intake manifold will probably come off again, but it's easy enough. I do have the old gasket there still, so even though that would probably work, better off to get a new gasket. Well, let's get this thing installed. I'm excited to see this engine look like an engine. I decided to go with a black manifold just because I thought it would look a little bit better with some of the black accents like the engine mounts and things. So let's slap it on. All right, you guys, intake manifold, throttle body is installed. Made it look a hell of a lot more complete. Hope you guys like my little fake eBay Skunk Tube Pro Series emblem on there. I got some more stuff showing up very soon. Injectors, fuel rail, whole entire fuel kit for this car. And I'm also gonna be working on some cosmetic stuff. This valve cover looks like trash, so I'm gonna be pulling this off in the next video and giving it to Josh. He's gonna powder coat it a fresh color. I'm not entirely sure what color I wanna go yet, but I'm thinking either white to match the car or red to match Type R. Even though this is not a Type R engine, I think the red would look pretty nice in here. It would pop, it would kind of contrast the black intake manifold a little bit. Leave it down in the comments what you guys think. But I got a huge stack of parts coming this week to start the next video for this car, so I'm very excited. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the Del Sol content. I'm having a bunch of fun making it. It's like basically one big Lego. If you're ever wondering what kind of car you should start working on as your first car, pick up a Honda. They're so fun, they're so easy, everything's cheap. I think it's one of the very few cars that you could work on and actually have a good time working on it, despite if you put a hole in the firewall and potentially ruin your body harness. But that's cars. Shifter looks sick as hell inside the car. We're gonna get the center console all finished up in the next video, along with a bunch more goodies for the engine bay and some very special parts that I'm extremely unsure about, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they work, because if they do, that's just gonna be crazy. So we have all that to look forward to in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you next week.